So I was actually pretty excited for the first week of school because during the time of registration I was in jail, so my sister was took the time to get classes for me. So before school started, I got all my classroom numbers down to know exactly where I was going in Fullerton. First period went along. I realized the second class that I was in the same building as my first class, but the sign said that the classroom didn't exist. So I was like freaking out. I was like, okay, I need to go to the library, go on the computer, see what class I need to get. Go to the library. I realized that the second class that I took was in Cypress College and not Fullerton College, and I'm freaking out because I don't have a car, so I'm not about to wait 3 hours for my next class. Finally, luckily I see one of my friends walking by, and I follow him to the classroom, which I ended up getting. But my third class is sociology class. I go in, and the teacher introduced herself. She talks about how she likes her things done in class, and she brings up the seating chart. She says, next class meeting, I want you to sit wherever you feel comfortable because that's where you're going to sit the whole semester. And that being said, she introduces one of her students, and she says, hey, I'm surprised no one's sitting next to you. You're such a cool guy, like my last class. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to sit next to this guy because I'm always out to have a good time during school. So next day comes along, I walk around the classroom, I search to see open seats. I see an open seat next to that guy who she introduced, and I start walking to him. The moment I lay down my binder, he grabs it and just starts reading it. I'm like, well, okay, that's cool. It's funny anyways. I have a funny note on there, you can read it. So I sit down, and he's talking to me as if he's like my best friend for the longest time. He makes jokes with me, I'm laughing at him, whatever. The teacher passes out papers numbered 17.5, obviously to put between 17 and 18. So the class is going on, he asks me an obvious question about that paper, and it's right in front of his face. So I'm like, I give him an obvious answer, I point to him, like it's right here. And out of nowhere, he gets so defensive, like he's like, yeah, whatever, I knew. He punches me and pulls my hair. I was so angry. I looked at him, I was like, don't ever touch my hair again. He was like, what are you going to do? Why? Is it fake? Is it going to fall off? I was livid at this point. I was like, oh my God, just do not touch it. I don't care how many girls you did it to. They don't like it, so don't do it. It's awkward by this point, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to stay here for the rest of the semester. Thank God there was an earthquake during that time. So the earthquake hits, everyone's making a ruckus, and I'm able to turn back to the people sitting behind me, and I'm like, I can't sit here. I'm whispering because I don't want the guy sitting next to me to hear me. And they're like, what? You can't sit? And I was like, no, I can't sit here. And they're like, oh, okay. So throughout the whole class, I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel so bad. How am I going to do this? Am I going to just grab my stuff and leave? And the time comes, teacher brings up the seating charts. She passes out a paper. She's like, I want you to put your names on the row and seat number and sign your name. You're going to sit there the whole semester. So I'm like in regret. I turn back to the guy behind me, and I look at him. He's like, it's now or never. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. It is now or never. So I grab my stuff, place it behind me, walk around, sit down, and just my luck, that right after we do the seating charts, she tells the whole class to go into a group, and he ends up being in my group. So I'm like, oh my God, it's so awkward. He couldn't even look at me in the eye. I couldn't look at him in the eye. But I would say that would be the most strangest, but the best day in my life, because I didn't have to sit next to a guy who pulled my hair.